In other news, a two-day peace summit on Ukraine has concluded with no clear way forward on ending Russia's more than two-year operation, as key powers spurned a joint communique demanding territorial integrity for the war-torn country. Around 100 nations and organizations attended the gathering in Switzerland, but the document was only signed by more than 80. Those that did not provide signatures include India, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, all of whom have important relationships with Moscow as members of the BRICS economic group. Russia was not invited to the meeting, while China stayed out of it, citing a lack of equal participation from the two opposing sides. The Ukrainian leader appealed to China's role in potentially ending this conflict.
Ми поважаємо Китай і завжди поважали територіальну цілісність і суверенітет вашої держави. Все, що ми хотіли, щоб Китай поважав територіальну цілісність України і наш суверенітет. Ми поважаємо ваш народ, ваші цінності, життя і ваш вибір. І хотіли би, щоб Китай робив те саме, не більше. Хотілося б і не менше. Китай дуже серйозна держава, серйозна економіка, яка має політичний і економічний вплив на Росію. Реально має вплив. Вважаю, що Китай міг би нам допомогти.
Mr. Zelensky also noted that the current level of Western military aid being sent to his country is not enough to ensure Kyiv wins the war against Moscow. He says he will hold peace talks with the Kremlin tomorrow if Russia pulls its troops out of Ukraine. Philip Crowther has more on what went down at the summit.
This was a summit on peace in Ukraine, not a peace summit, really. There's a difference. The two warring factions must be there to negotiate, and Russia was not invited here to this luxury resort overlooking Lake Lucerne. There was never going to be anything resembling a peace deal coming out of this conference, but it does set some conditions for possible future summits, with the possible participation of Moscow. The aims are modest. There's no call in the final communique for troop withdrawals or post-war settlements. It took as its basis a plan presented by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, but only 3 issues from that 10-point plan were included here. There's a call for Ukraine to be given back control of the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant and its ports on the Sea of Azov for grain exports. And all prisoners of war must be released, and all deported Ukrainian children and adults must be returned, says the text. But for now, Russian President Vladimir Putin has ridiculed these efforts. He has suggested his own plan, but it demands the withdrawal of Ukrainian troops from areas now occupied by Russia. Ukraine demands the end of the Russian occupation. They could not be further apart.
Що стосується перемовин з Росією, мені здається, я детально сказав. Росія завтра може розпочати, до речі, з нами перемовин, не чекаючи нічого, якщо вони вийдуть з наших законних територій. Це є просто повага до статуту ООН.
So the success of the summit was elsewhere, according to Zelensky and his Swiss hosts. It was the size of the conference, the fact that all parts of the world were represented, though to a much lesser degree the global south. Brazil sent an observer, India a low-level delegation, and China was not here altogether, because Beijing says that any summit needs both Ukraine and Russia to be at the table. China backs Russia, and its absence was notable. Philip Crowther, CNA, in Lucerne, Switzerland.